Hey there, On Tracker. Scott Graves here from the On Track Music Guitar School, and I want to tell you about what I think is a very cool amplifier. This is the Roland Blues Cube. Roland Blues Cube. This model is called the Blues Cube Artist, and it is a 80 watt max 80 watt amplifier with one 12-inch speaker in it. This is kind of the top of the line of the Blues Cube amps. There is one model that's a little bit more pricey than this one, and the only difference is it has, it's the Artist Series that has a two 12-inch model. So this is the Artist Series Blues Cube Artist. It's got one 12-inch speaker in it, and it's an 80 watt amplifier. They also make this in what they call a stage model, and the stage model is a 60 watt amplifier, and it's got one 12-inch speaker in it. And then there are a couple of other models that they just came out with. They came out with one called the Blues Cube Hot, and it's even a little less expensive. They kind of have some different price points in there. The difference between the Blues Cube Artist and the Blues Cube Stage, the Blues Cube Artist has a couple of features that the Stage does not, and that's why I decided to go with the Artist. I'm going to show you, I'll get a look at the front panel here on the amp, and when you look at this, this is kind of what you're looking at on the amplifier. Over here you've got a clean channel with just a clean volume right there. You have the ability, this is a boost button that will boost you, give you a little bit of extra volume on it. That is foot switchable as well. There is a tone button, which is like a bright control, gives you a nice bright sound with that on or off right there. You've got a crunch channel, and the crunch channel has two separate volumes. It has the gain and the volume so that you can guess is for dialing in your overdrive. On this channel you've got as well you've got a boost option, and then you've got a tone control, or a tone boost that's really like a bright control right there. You've got your standard basic 3-band EQ, bass, middle, and treble right here. You've got a reverb here, which is really cool. It's nice spring type reverb, and you can dial in the amount of reverb that you want. That is not controllable on the foot switch. You also have a tremolo, which is cool, so that you get that wah 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 effect. And this tremolo actually happens to be tappable, tap tempoable, so you can get your tremolo to go wah 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 or wah 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 wah, however fast you want to dial it in. There's also an effects loop, and you can turn the effects loop on and off by this button right here. You've got effects in and out, effects send and return on the back of the amplifier. And the effects loop is also accessible by the foot switch. And then over here in this section we've got a presence and then a master, okay? Presence and a master, and then over here, this is the coolest thing I think about the Blues Cube, power control. You can run this thing at 80 watts, 80 watt max, but you can cut it down to 45 watts, then you can cut it to 50 watts, and then even a half a watt, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. So it's really cool. Now the difference between the Blues Cube Artist and the Blues Cube Stage, the Blues Cube Stage does not have the presence control, and the Blues Cube Stage does not have the effects loop. So if those things are important to you, the Artist is the way to go. If not, the Stage is the way that is going to be fine for you. The other thing about the Stage is that it is not accessible. The effects are not accessible, or the different channels and stuff, through this foot switch. This does not come with the amp. This is a GAFC foot controller, and it allows you to control some of the different aspects on the amplifier, so that's an additional accessory. But I really like it. I use this. On the Stage, you use the Roland FS5U pedals to control and move back and forth the different effects. And those FS5Us you can also use on the Blues Cube Artist as well, but the Blues Cube Artist accepts this GAFC foot controller, which is cool. So I'm just going to tell you, before I get started on this, a couple things that are cool about the Blues Cube. This amp sounds as close as you can get to a vintage tube amplifier. In fact, I've seen there's tons of demos of these online. You can check them out. The thing that really impressed me about it was the honest, straightforward demos that I've seen where they compare this side by side to the cube, or not the cube, the tube combo amps that it's kind of made to emulate, okay? Now this is not done with modeling technology. It's not modeling technology, it's Roland's tube logic technology, and I am not an engineer. I don't understand everything about you know, tube logic and how it works, but from what I understand, they designed it to mimic how a tube responds at all of the different volume levels and parameters and stuff that you get when you put a tube through its paces. And I saw a lot of demos online before I decided to purchase one. And I tell you, if you are a tube amp guy, you have to hear this amp. You have got to hear this amp because you don't really understand how cool it is until you play it. And so that's my ringing endorsement for it. Now, I'll get into in a minute some of the other reasons why I got this amplifier and what I really love about it. But it's a really, really cool amplifier. And if you're a working musician or a teacher, you want a good workhorse amplifier that's going to be great for any club, this is a great way to go. So I'm just going to let you hear some of the things. First of all, I'm playing a 1976 Gibson Les Paul. This one, the pickups are kind of hotter on this 76 model, and I'm just going to turn my volume, my tone, all my volumes all the way up, my tones all the way up, and I'm just going to set the toggle here in the middle position so that you're hearing both pickups. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play this on a 1/2 watt level, okay, on the 1/2 watt level, and I'm just going to play this right now. This is the clean channel, and this will be without the bright control on it. This is just a clean sound, okay? Now that's got some reverb on it. I'll cut the reverb off so you can hear it without the reverb. That's a 1/2 watt, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and boost up to the next wattage level, and you'll see what happens here. I'm going to go up to 15 watts, okay? So here's 15 watts. On my setting here, when you see this, you can see where I've got my clean right here. My clean's down here on about, I don't know, 3 or 4. And then my master I've got up here on 6. And I've got the presence about halfway up here, and I'm on the 1/2 watt level. So that's really nice. You can hear that's, in comparison to my voice, I like this for teaching, for just practicing. It sounds really great. Now the next amplifier stage, and from what I understand, these are actually 4 separate amplifiers that it uses. I'm going to kick it up to the 15 watt level, and I'll just keep talking so that you hear how much louder it is. Level. See that? There it is. Okay? So that's just 15 watts right there. Okay, now my presence is on midway right there. I'll go ahead and push the presence up all the way. And puts it in your face a little bit more, really nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit the bright on this. One thing I like with that presence in that bright, I can actually play my Les Paul on the middle toggles, and I can play a song like Sweet Home Alabama, and it sounds good. Still got a nice bright sound on it, so I really like the versatility on that. So anyway, that's just up to the 15 watt level. If I go, I'll take it up here, it's a 45 watt level. I don't know if you notice that not on the camera, but man, it really blasted. It's probably, you could overdrive the speakers on the camera. Then I can take it up to the 80 watt. I'm going to take it back down to 15 now. So anyway, the coolest thing that I have found about the various volume controls is for me, I own a music school, I do a lot of teaching, I play out, and I play in a lot of different situations. And the nice thing that I like about this is I can really configure the amp to the room, and I can get the response out of the amp that I want, and all I have to do is just, I can just adjust the volume by cranking up those different power levels. And there are times when I've gone to gigs where we have to be a little bit lower as people are filtering in, you know, the energy's not in the room, and I can maybe have it at the 15 watt level, and then I can immediately kick it over to the 45 watt level, and I don't have to adjust anything. I just get a little bit more volume level as the night cranks up. It's really, really cool. I like it. So anyway, all right, so that's the clean level, or the clean channel. Now I'm going to go to the crunch channel here, and I'll just switch over on my foot switch over to the crunch channel. And you can see that I've got on here the gain just at halfway on the crunch channel right here. Now, this is a blues cube, you know, this is not a metal monster. So the crunch on here might, you know, not be the type of crunch that you like if you're not a classic rock blues type of player. But having said that, I will tell you that this amp accepts pedals really, really well. So if you got a killer pedal that you want to run in through the front end, run it through the front end and just go ahead and crank it up. But here's some distortion. I'll start. So again, on those settings, on that setting, I had my bright up, I had my presence all the way up. I will go ahead and leave it like that, and I'm going to crank the gain on this time. So let's see what this sounds like. Here's the gain. Go ahead and take the tone off, so it's going to come off bright, and I'll take the presence back down to the kind of mid-level. Show you how my EQ is set on this. I've got the bass crank a little bit, treble up a little bit, mid dial back just a little, kind of classic rock type of a setting. I'll just go ahead and I'll set everything straight up so that you kind of hear that. And then I'm going to take this now and crank it up to the 15 watt level. Take it to the 45 watt level. 80 watt level. Okay, take it back down. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of do it. I'm going to set things to how I like to play. I usually like a little bit brighter. I'll take the take the bass up just a little here. Cut back those mids. Bass and treble up just a bit. Okay, I'm going to dial that back a little bit. See, it's a nice amp. Now, a couple other features that we got here. I will go ahead and go back and forth between the clean and distortion. So that's accessible through the foot switch. I can be playing my distortion. Switch to my clean. This has one really cool feature on it that is unique to, I think, Roland. I don't see a lot of amps with this. This dual tone feature combines the clean channel and the crunch channel together. And that is really cool, because what happens when you do that, it's kind of in the olden days, back in the day, they used to record albums. A lot of times they double track the guitar. They'd play one clean channel, and then they play one crunch channel. And the dual tone, when you hit that, you get both channels going at the same time. another cool thing about this amp is the way that it responds when you go from playing lightly to playing with more feel and heavier with your pick. It will actually clean up as you play lighter. I'm on the crunch channel right now, and I'm just going to play kind of light. The way a tube amp does. When you play a little bit lighter, it you know, it cleans up, and then as you dig in, it puts more distortion in there. So the other thing that's cool on this, if you've got the GAFC especially, is you've got a clean boost. So if I'm playing, here's my clean channel, and I want to boost that up a little. Boost. I've got a distortion boost, so if I'm on my crunch channel, okay, got the crunch boost on there. And then also on this foot switch, and I'll put this toward you so you can see this, on this foot switch here, it says function right here. So here's my clean boost, or my crunch boost. So if I'm on the crunch channel and I hit this, I boost my crunch. Or if I'm on the clean channel and I hit this, I boost my clean. But by hitting this function switch right here, now this becomes, when that function is blinking, this one turns the tremolo on and off, and this one turns your effects loop on and off. So if you've got an effects pedal set up and you're running through the effects loop, you can turn that on and off via that right there. So anyway, it's a cool amp. The other cool thing about this amp that kind of sold me on it for what I do is the fact that it's light. It's much lighter than an actual tube amp. And again, you know, really, I know, you know, listen, I'm an old school guy. I've got two tube amplifiers, and I understand, you know, the love of the tube sound. But when you put this side by side, it really, really does sound very, very excellent. And for what I do, and at my age, hauling an amp around to clubs that isn't as fragile as a tube amp, isn't as heavy as a tube amp, has more versatility than a lot of the tube amps out there. It really made a lot of sense for me, and I love it for teaching. I like the fact that I don't have to take extra tubes with me just in case, you know, something happens and I blow a tube. You know, it's really cool. And Roland does a real good job of building really well built stuff. So I really endure, and I love it. I think it's a killer amplifier. But you got to hear one for yourself in person. One other thing that Roland has done is they make a thing called a tone capsule, and I know Eric Johnson's got one out, and there's somebody else who has one out. They make these tone capsules that look like tubes that plug into the back, and they totally change the sound of the amplifier and how it responds, and you can get tone capsules from various artists to plug in here, and it virtually gives you a whole nother amplifier. I've got an Eric Johnson one on Reserve that's coming in, so I'm anxious to hear that, but I just love the basic sound of it. You know, for me, for what I do, being a classic rock blues bass type player, playing jazz and stuff like that too, this amp is really awesome. So anyway, that's the Roland Blues Cube, and this is a Blues Cube artist. I highly recommend you check one out, and I highly recommend you come on down and see why they say on-track music, the right way to learn to play. Take care.